So I had this realization in DM the other day that I feel like I was looking at crosshair placing a little bit wrong. So I want to share with you guys what I was thinking and why I think maybe that was wrong. And there's a better way of thinking about crosshair placement so you're way more consistent and comfortable with peeking and killing the enemies in a fast, efficient manner. So I think people misunderstand crosshair placement. If you try too hard to be precise on where you're aiming and aim exactly kind of where their head is, you're gonna end up getting too kind of fixated on that instead of actually killing the enemy. And when I was in DM, I was focusing too hard on like actually putting my crosshair on where the wall is. Like I was thinking too much about the wall instead of the enemy, if that makes sense. So I was focusing on too much the crosshair to the wall. So for example, peeking here and having it exactly here. But at the end of the day, if it's here, it doesn't really matter at all. But what would matter is if I was like visualizing the ghost of the enemy or the possibility of the enemy being there. So I'll break this down a bit more. If I'm peeking main here and I'm focusing on having my crosshair, okay, I need to have it exact here. So when I peek, it's going to be right against this wall. So if he's crouching there, I can like headshot him, like doing that. But what I'm missing is that you can't know where the enemy is. There's so many different angles. He could be here where he is. He could be here. He could be where I was thinking. He could be a bit out to the right. He could be jiggling in and out. He could be crouched. Like there's so many different angles he can actually be at. So when people talk about crosshair placement, it's extremely important, like having it as close to the enemy as you can, but you can't always have it exactly on. What I think happens, and you notice a lot of the best pros doing this, is they don't have the most perfect, like right on the head kill. A lot of the time it's peek and then reacting and being able to like be close enough to the enemy. They're not looking here, so they have to flick that far, like they're as close as possible, but they're not fixating on the crosshair placement being good, being exact. They're more visualizing the enemy over the crosshair placements. Being able to visualize the actual ghost of the enemy is super important, and you shouldn't be visualizing like there is 100% an enemy there. It's just like you're visualizing that there could be an enemy there, because if I knew there's an enemy there, I'm gonna go like this and peek like super hard. But if I'm not like 100% sure, I'm going to be peeking, but I'm like ready, but I'm also ready to go to the next peak at the same time. A lot of the mistakes people make as well is finding like that balance, and they find the balance wrong, and they end up clearing corners like too fast. They end up like running like this and like going like this, and they know they have to clear the corner, so they clear it and they flick like this, but then they just insta flick back, and there was a guy there, so they flicked off the guy, and then this guy's just killed him. If you're going to crosshair place, we need to like visualize the enemy. So like right when I'm running here, I'm thinking of a ghost like being there pretty much. Think about how easy it is to kill someone. If you know there's a guy in this corner right here, it's so easy to kill him because you know he's just going to be in that corner. If you know he's going to be hiding here and you're peeking here, then it's just so easy. So what you notice is like these entries and these people who get these unreal entries, they're just really good at visualizing the enemy behind the wall. What's up guys? So I was going through my inventory and noticed I had some cheapish skins that I don't really need. So I decided to hop over to my friends at CS2. I played on the side a bit, and with those skins, I withdrew some slightly more expensive ones. On CS2, you can use my promo code SAVAGE, which will give you an extra 10% deposit amount. CS2 has a bunch of different deposit methods like Apple Pay, Google Pay, Visa, MasterCard, and more. Plus the money you can win, you can withdraw through crypto. So once again, check out CS2 in the description below and use my promo code SAVAGE. People talk so much about crosshair placement when it's like, you need to just be visualized enemy behind the wall, and then your crosshair placement's good, because I know this guy's here. Because my like visually, I'm like thinking about him behind the wall. Like I'm imagining like a little like black blob here, like behind the wall. I see him there, and I'm ready to react. If you watch any pros, this is what they're like super good at, just visualizing those fights kind of before they're happening. And another thing is just kind of believing in your fight. Like if you guys have felt it before, sometimes when you're in a fight, you don't feel confident in it. You kind of go into it tense, like, oh, I'm hoping. And instead of like knowing you're gonna kill the guy. So a lot of this comes down to like, yeah, proving to yourself that you can aim like this and you can play good. But try visualizing, instead of your crosshair as it needs to be exactly on the head when you are crosshair placing, think about it as more of like a pivot point. This realization that I talked about in the start of the video was when I was in DM and I was kind of just too hard focusing on like having my crosshair in the exact right position. Instead of being more of like a pivot, kind of like a fighter jet. Like you can imagine a fighter jet like flying around. It's flying around like this, like pretty smooth. It sees something and it kills. I'm peeking the angle, but there's like, it doesn't matter where the enemy is. I'm peeking here, but I'm ready for him all around here. Playing off reaction like on the peak is really good. Leads into my teammates peak stop react concept that I talk about a lot in this video, where it's like you're peeking, you're stopping, and you're reacting to where the enemy is. You're not trying to like perfectly line up where his head is, but then you're just aiming at the wall and he's over here and you like tense up and like can't kill this guy. You want to be kind of loose, like so you peek, stop, react, so you know you're going to peek and stop and then kill, so you know you're going to peek, stop, and then react to where he is. But you want to be really loose when you're doing this, when you're crosshair placing. You don't want to be super hard, like locked in, like crosshair placing, because then you're tense and you can't move to here. You want to be pretty light, just kind of ready to react no matter where he is.
By the way, I almost forgot to mention that CS2 has a section with a bunch of top raffles. Feel free to head over to the site and join in the raffles. The link is in the description below.
So you can see this little image I have on the screen, and this is kind of how I'm visualizing it. I'm not thinking about my crosshair just being in this center bit. I'm also thinking about it being able to flick out to here. So if I see an enemy here, my crosshair is here, where like it's close to like the most common angle, but I've got to be ready to flick out to here, and I'm not super tense holding my mouse grip. I'm light, and then I slightly tighten it to like I'm light. I slightly tighten it to slow down my like movement of my mouse, and then I shoot the guy. So try this out. Don't focus too hard on like exact perfect crosshair placement. Instead of thinking about visualizing the enemy behind the wall and visualizing you kill him. Thanks guys for watching this. Just try this trick out, see how it feels. It helped a lot for me. I hope I could explain it to you properly through this video. It's a bit of a complex kind of topic, so I tried to break it down as best as I can. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments, and I have a coaching program as well, so you can join that if you want like personalized coaching, like going over all this micro stuff, going over macro stuff. Maybe you want to go from like face the plugs to playing in a team, and I can help a lot with that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching this guys, and I'll see you in the next one.